It's just going to be this thing. We were having this conversation earlier, and one of the biggest rackets, um, I want to say, of the 20th and 21st century, especially the latter half of the 20th century into today, is college. Um, Now, there's no problem with learning more than what is required. I mean, you get a skill set, and there you go. But how many of you graduated college and it took you years to get into the field you want, or they start you out at a low salary and you got to work your way off. Meanwhile, you pay off this exuberant amount of student loan debt. Well, this begs the question, is college worth it? I mean, to me, I feel like it's the biggest Ponzi scheme in America today. Yeah, and I know we got some bigger fish to fry right now, financially, and all that other stuff. But but this right here is something that we can all um, sink our teeth into. Okay. All right. So let's see. What's the first thing we got here? Let's look at. Hopefully, it doesn't crash me. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's look at that. All right, cool. I'm still going. Good, 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 good. Student loan debt. All right. So when we come down here to a couple of different curves, this is as of 2012, and it shows you right here on this chart that over 40% of college graduates in this country um, have a debt of $10,000 or more. Um, and we look right here about about 30% have a debt of $25,000 or more, and about 20% have a debt of $50,000 or more. So and then the top 5% have well over a debt of $100,000. Now, with debts like that, you could easily leverage to make a down payment on a vehicle or even a house. With debts like this, you can buy a house or start the process of it. Now you get all this college debt, and then what do you do? And so and then you hear some of these politicians say free college, free college, free college. So let me stop screen sharing that. All right. So now take a quick look. Um, let's take a quick look at some other things. All right. So let's take the college, University of South Florida in Tampa, and let me show you real quick right here. All right. So you have the academic staff being that of just over 16,000, and when you add up the postgrads, the undergrads, and the rest of the students, you're looking at just over 197,000 students. Okay. Now, with the tuition of $23,000 to $24,000 a year, that comes out to $4.5 billion, assuming no one has a free ride scholarship. But let's say half of them do have a a free ride scholarship, a full ride scholarship. Um, that would bring the annual income for the school at 2.2 billion, but it's probably somewhere around the $3 billion mark. Let's just roll with that. That sounds right. Um, okay, so I'm gonna stop screen sharing that. All right. So what's the next thing on there? All right. So we're going to look at the average cost, the average annual salary of a professor, of a college professor, and right there on the ticker, professor salary is usually between 75 to 125K annually. Okay. So let's go ahead and share the screen again. College professor salaries. Okay. So here we go. How much does a college professor make in the United States? So they're even saying that the average is somewhere in the $153,000 mark. And we can see that it's going to be a bit sobering. Okay, so English professor 90,000, um, history professor almost 100,000, um, a law professor almost 170,000, math professor 100,000, 110,000 for architecture, 102,000 for chemistry, 95,000 for communication, 133 for a dentist. Even a drama professor makes just over 100. No, I mean 90,000. Just makes over 90,000. Go figure. And the economics professor makes about $117,000. So you have these professors making six figure or or double six figure, you know, salaries or near six figure salaries. Um, so we could take the model of, let's just pretend that everybody at the university makes 100,000, which is not true. Some make more, some make less. Then there's the deans, but let's roll with $100,000 dollar number. Let's pretend that all 16,000 faculty members make $100,000 at USF, which is $1.6 billion, which is probably going to be closer to maybe 1.5, give or take. Because then you got the janitors that don't make nearly as much as the professors. And of course, the people at Registrar, and of course, people that work at the bookstore, which they might use student labor for that. A lot of them do. But let's pretend that. And we could roll with the number of $3 billion. That is a 1.5 billion to $2 billion profit for the college. Okay. Another thing I found out is that the colleges. Oopsie. Okay, good. Wow. Thought I was gonna go bye-bye. The colleges do not pay property taxes. They are exempt from property taxes. At least in the state of Florida, universities are exempt from paying property taxes right here in this state. So when we look at student housing, and I took a look at it, and in the housing rates is it's about average. It's a little bit less than renting an apartment, depending on the region that you're at. So we're looking at anywhere between $700 to $1,100 for on-campus student housing. I say, well, that's that. So yeah, it does cover some of the costs of electricity. However, we can take a quick look at that. And remember, tuition is separate than housing cost. It's separate than book cost. It's separate than meal cost. Now, your student loans can cover all that, but again, each one's different. It's racking up. Okay. Now, I understand food and I understand utilities. That I do understand. But some of these other things, I mean, they are making hand over fist. They are basically making a big chunk of profit on the student housing and the books. And we're going to see that right now. So let's go over to, where are we at? Let's see. Yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and screen share this. This is important to see. This is going to be a sobering reality. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so here's your UCF textbooks. University of Central Florida official bookstore. Okay. So this one is, here's a book, Art of Northwestern World Access card. That's recommended for that course. And right now, they only have new, and it is $92. Not almost 93. $92.70 for that book. Okay. All right, okay. So now we got this is a required in this course, behavior modification. The which I would be interested in this book, to be honest with you. The book is $72.85 for a used and $155 for a new book. And granted, these are hardbound, so yeah, I mean, I expect to pay a little bit more for a hardbound book. But then again, I've had books that were floppies. Okay, here's a zoology book, Diversity of Fishes. Okay, this book, $73.65 for a used book. And again, we look at the new book price of $155. Now remember, book cost is not in the tuition. You would think that if it was smart, you shouldn't have to pay for the book, but you got to pay for the books. You get the class, it's say, okay, now you go get this book. Now, you understand that when you went to middle school and high school, each class they provided you with a book, and that was part of it. Even in private school, even private school, the curriculum provided you with the book. You go to college, 100% different story. All right. So it's going to go ahead and close that out. All right. So yeah. Well, what's up? How you doing, Frank? Welcome. I'm talking about the biggest Ponzi scheme in America, the American college system, and just talked about the books. And before that, I was talking about the tuition and faculty and everything else like that. And we use yes, go into debt for life, exactly. And we went over those numbers as well. Over 40% of college graduate student loan debt is people owe 10,000 or more. Over 50% is 25,000 or more. Over 75, so every 75% people owe more than 50 grand, and 5% owe well over 100 grand. So yeah. All right. So where were we at? Let's see. So yeah, we just went over the book prices, which new books cost about $100, and plus 100, 150 bucks. Okay, so let's see. Go to school for jobs that by the time you are out, the jobs don't exist or don't need filled anymore. That's exactly correct. And we're going to get to that in a little while. Okay, so let's take a look about, and we talked about housing, and we talked about how the how most of the universities, if not all of them, are tax exempts for property taxes. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely 100% right. And I'm sure, there are these geniuses that go around and have people skirt the cost. And God bless them. save them and their parents money. But we'll get into why you should and shouldn't go to college in a little bit. They say college ain't for everybody. Well, it's not for most people, and I'll get into that in a little while. But first, I'm going to show this. And remember, your college tuition is separate from your housing, and so is your books and everything else. So let's take a quick look. This is the cost of utilities at the UCF campus. They are charging a little over 11 cents per kilowatt hour, almost 50 cents for a thermal unit for natural gas. For cold water, just over 20 cents a ton an hour. TON hour, that means ton, I'm supposing. Wastewater, just over a cent a gallon. Almost all of them are over a cent a gallon. Okay, so your water is actually no, almost a cent a gallon. I'm sorry. Yeah, your water is about half a cent a gallon. So it shows you all these different prices. Now, I'm going to stop screen sharing that, and I'm going to show you the real rates in Orlando. The real, honest to God rates. Remember that was 11 cents a kilowatt hour? Well, let's take a quick look right here. This is OUC, Orlando Utilities Commission. Now, of course, they're going to charge you a typical rate of $12.50 a month. Okay. For the first 1,000 kilowatt hours, it's 6.4 cents, or almost like 6.5 cents. And the base charge after those first 1,000 kilowatt hours is almost 8.5 cents. And UCF charges you 11 cents a kilowatt hour. For the fuel charge, remember, it was almost 50 cents. Well, for the fuel, according to the OUC, which is their utility service out there, same utility service, you're looking at 3.2 cents. So they're making money hand over fist on the housing, on top of the fact that the professors make they make on average $100,000 and annually. And with an average student roster of close to 200,000 students paying $24,000 a year, even that's $4.5 billion, which is probably closer to like maybe 3.5, because you got to account for people that do get a full ride. Even still, that's still $2 to $3 billion in profit after paying for all their teachers. So go figure. Go figure. Man, I think we might be done here, but no, we're done on the numbers. So by that alone, we can see that unless you're either going to be an engineer, or you're going to the medical profession, you're going into the law profession. There's a couple of them that really do require a college degree, and we know that for a fact. But except for that, you don't need it. You don't need it, because here you are, you're in debt. Your credit is bad. You can't get a new car. You can't get a house. You can't get. There's several things you can't get. So we talked about this on the YouTube. We talked about it on various live streams. You're going to see, once we're all done with the self-isolation and all this other stuff, a lot of red tape being cut, a lot of people rethinking things, and Things will normalize. We don't know what that's going to look like, but I could assure you this education system that told us that globalism is good and everything, and it totally screwed us, didn't it? Well, they're going to look for someone to ride out of town on the rail. It's probably not going to be me. So yeah, vocational school cost way less than this. Maybe skirt the cost, go to a community college and get an AA degree if you want to have something. Then get a few vocational certificates saying like, yeah, I learned this, but mostly get some experience um, out there in the field, volunteering for something that you might want to do that's interesting, that you find interesting. Um, get paid to do something because here's the thing: you don't have to go to college to start a business. You certainly don't have to go to college to run for political office. And that's one reason why people get mad. Let's see. Or get a job that will pay you or pay you back for exactly like the apprenticeship programs, like a lot of machine shops do. Um, a lot of the if you want to get your journeyman license, like you go work for like a electrical company, like being an electrician. You're an apprentice, but you take the classes, they'll pay for it, and you get your journeyman license. You get more money for that because they get kickbacks for doing that. Oh yeah, going back to the whole books thing. I mean, why in the world say they have a certain book in their curriculum and they say no, that was last edition, you need the new edition. It's a way for them to make money because companies come to them and say, hey, push this book and we'll get you a kickback. That's exactly what they do. Let's see. Smart, not even 3 years. Yeah. So, anyways, as soon as I wrap this up, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna export it to YouTube. I'll probably download it and put it up on the BitChute. And yeah, they are silly humans. Yeah, let's pay someone. I mean, the most expensive babysitters, right? College, the most expensive babysitter, most expensive nursery. Oh, and that's something that I thought about is that I think it should be mandated that universities not take anyone under the age of 20. That way, you get out of high school when you're 17, 18 years old, and you get out there in the workforce for a couple of years, um, and then make the decision on whether you want to go to college or not, or did you have a appreciation of what it's like there in the real world? See, that's the problem. That is the biggest problem we have in society. Is our educational problem? Is our education has failed us, and humans thought it was expensive to take care. Oh, good one, Adam and Frank. Well, anyways, that was my rant on colleges. The video will be up on Twitch for as long as Twitch will allow, because it's like takes like a 2 week shelf life, then it goes away. But I'm gonna export this to YouTube, and I'm gonna download it so I could certainly have you know let this be evergreen. Let everybody know that college is a racket. Thank you very much. I want to thank Frank and Adam for participating in the chat and adopt a wiener dog today. All right. Goodbye, everybody.